Everything you need to know for the Toledo Mud Hens opening day and the Walleye playoff run, plus my thoughts on some big headlines this week, including the whole signal intelligence community chat fiasco, coming up on today's episode of the podcast.
It's a Scott Sands Show.
As you can see, I have a Mud Hens t-shirt on. I'm ready for Mud Hens opening day Friday. That's going to be the big focus of today's episode, but I do want to cover a couple of other stories today. It's episode 2551 of the Scott Sands Show podcast. You can find me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook. Wherever you get your podcasts, please be sure to subscribe. I appreciate it. Again, I've said this before. I'm certainly not making any money from this. I'm just doing it for fun, and I still have stuff to say. But if you support the podcast, it would be much appreciated. Friday, before I go to the game and all of the opening day festivities, I'll also be on Super Talk Mississippi once again from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. our time, Eastern time on Friday. And you can stream that show live on supertalk.fm. So before we talk to Jordan and Taylor from the Hens about opening day festivities and tell you some of the places you may want to hit, let me hit this story quickly since we talked to author Gerald Posner last week about the JFK files. Starting today, your hard-earned tax dollars are going to be squandered as the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee kicks off public hearings on the JFK assassination, a case that's already been probed extensively by the government to no satisfactory conclusion for many Americans. I actually think maybe DOJ should get involved in this waste of taxpayer money. Leading this charge is Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who I otherwise like, and she heads this newly formed task force on the declassification of federal secrets. And Congresswoman Luna has declared that the JFK assassination is just the beginning, with plans to investigate a laundry list of other historical events, including the assassinations of RFK and MLK, the origins of COVID-19, UAPs, UFOs, which we talked about with Giorgio Tsoukalos earlier this week, 9/11, the Jeffrey Epstein infamous client list, and others. It's quite an ambitious agenda for a task force that seems more interested in chasing ghosts than tackling pressing issues of today. And despite two major government investigations into JFK's death, a 2023 Gallup poll reveals that 2/3 of Americans still suspect a conspiracy. Now, I have long supported the release of all the JFK files. Transparency in our government is key, especially on a major event like this, and the public deserves to know what the government knows, especially 60 years later. But why waste time and money rehashing this case? Congresswoman Luna's rhetoric suggests that she's already convinced of a grand cover-up and is determined to play the hero who exposes it rather than conducting an impartial inquiry. For example, last month she said, "I believe there are two shooters." She said that. That's a predetermined conclusion even before the release of the JFK files. She also expressed a desire to interview attending physicians from the assassination, members of the Warren Commission, apparently unaware that the doctors who autopsied JFK and the commission members have long since passed away. She pivoted after learning this on X to target surviving Warren Commission staff members, Parkland Hospital doctors who treated Kennedy. She called the single bullet theory faulty on Glenn Beck's podcast and claimed the Dallas doctors reported an entry wound in JFK's neck, hinting at multiple shots. But here's the reality, and we talked about this with Gerald Posner, if you want to go back and listen to that podcast. The Parkland doctors in Dallas were racing to save Kennedy's life, and they weren't conducting a forensic exam. They performed a tracheotomy over a small wound in his throat, which some initially thought was an entrance wound, but autopsy photos later revealed a tiny entry wound in his upper back and the shoulder area. The throat wound was the bullet's exit point, fired by Oswald. But Representative Luna remains undeterred, eager to grill elderly survivors about their what I have to assume is fuzzy 62-year-old memory. And she's even planning a field trip to Dealey Plaza to investigate. And Dealey Plaza has changed a lot over the last 62 years. Gerald Posner commented on X when I sent him the story about the investigation, saying the JFK face is a playground for amateurs who treat Oliver Stone's fiction as gospel. Luna will find plenty of shaky witness stories to fuel her narrative. The release of these 80,000 JFK files, as we talked about with Posner, contain no bombshell new evidence, but that's not slowing her role or the role of conspiracy theorists. She's now cozying up to researchers spinning wild X-Files type theories about the CIA grooming Oswald despite zero credible proof in the documents. Last week, she tweeted about a Donald Heath memo claiming it showed the CIA rejected the lone gunman theory right after the assassination. But she's wrong. The memo actually instructed a CIA operative in Miami to probe possible Cuban exile links to the killing, which is a far cry from some grand conspiracy revelation. I do want to be clear about this, though. The government botched transparency on JFK from the beginning, going all the way back to the assassination and for the 60 years since. The CIA hid its mafia ties to assassinate Castro from the Warren Commission, dragged its feet on revealing Oswald's erratic behavior in Mexico City weeks before the murder. Information that, if shared with the FBI, might have prevented the tragedy before Kennedy was shot. But the circus that Luna's staging isn't about the truth at all. It's more political grandstanding dressed up as an investigation and pandering to the latest wave of deep state paranoia. We as taxpayers deserve better than this wasteful spectacle. I'd encourage you to read Posner's book, Case Closed, and go back to listen to that podcast from last week if you want to learn more about the JFK files. It was a fascinating conversation, if I do say so myself. Many thanks to the partners, the sponsors of the Scott Sancho podcast, like Rixa Health, rixahealth.com, fourguysonaroof.com, The Extreme Roofer, Third Street Cigar, The Art of Men's Grooming, and more. A couple of other friends of the podcast, Whiskey Red Saloon downstairs in my building here at the Commodore Perry, downtown Toledo. They're having a big Mud Hens opening day party. I think Jeff said he's got a hot dog buffet planned for opening day Friday at Whiskey Red Saloon. Check that place out. Some of my other friends, and of course, all of the great bars downtown that I love, will have festivities all day. Frickers at the Field is usually where I wind up. I will be at Cock and Bull for a little while as well. Blarney, a lot of private parties downtown. That's why I love opening day. In fact, we'll tell you about a couple more parties later in the podcast as well. But let's talk about the logistics, what to expect from the season for the Mud Hens, what's going on with the Toledo Walleye. Taylor Vandenbroek and Jordan Strack from the Mud Hens are joining me now on the Scott Sancho podcast. It's great to see you guys.
Good to see you, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So are we ready for Friday? Are we ready for Mud Hens opening day?
We're always ready. What are you talking about? We're always ready to go, right?
It seems like baseball season just ended, but it's exciting to have it back.
No, literally, without fail, I swear we just finished baseball and now we're already back to it again.
That's good.
So we're excited for the season.
Yeah, we don't get downtime around here, Scott. There's no such thing.
No, especially because of how well the Toledo Walleye always do. There's always local sports in Toledo, which is fantastic.
And never a dull moment on our end. Let's just be real. We're always doing something here.
Yeah.
So before we get into Mud Hens opening day, I might as well get an update from you, Jordan, on the Walleye and the playoff run that's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's knock that out first before we get going. Yeah, we're hoping to clinch the division this weekend. And then we get ready for playoffs, and playoff tickets are already on sale, so make sure you go get those. And we're hoping for another deep run. We're hoping the Walleye are playing into June. That's the good problem to have. We want them to be playing into June and keep us busy for as long as possible.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything, but it seems like the Walleye might as well put playoff tickets on sale with the season tickets, because it's become that thing where you just anticipate the Walleye being in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's what we do. There are really high expectations here. There's no question. Like everybody kind of comes into it. When you come sign in Toledo, you know that you're probably in for the long haul. You know there's going to be a long season. You know you're going to be in the playoffs. You know you're going to be competing for a championship. So, yeah, you just settle in and you know that it's coming.
And proving Toledo is a hockey town. I mean, we've got the college Frozen Four, or am I saying that correctly? You know how sometimes I screw up sports, especially hockey. I mean, that's exciting to have that in the city as well.
No question. Like it's a regional here, so whoever wins between these 4 teams here this week will then go on to the Frozen Four. So yes, you were right on, Southern guy. You're getting the hockey hang of it. We'll get you there.
Yeah, well, my exposure prior to moving to the Midwest, my exposure to hockey was an ECHL team at the time, the Mississippi Seawolves.
Yeah.
Which I think may be back. I don't know if they're in the ECHL, but I think the Seawolves are back.
They are not in the ECHL. I can tell you that. They may be back. I don't know. I should probably know that, but I don't. They are not in the ECHL. I do know that.
I've never heard of them.
That's fine. I'd never heard of the Walleye before I moved here either, but it's fine. And now it's part of my regular routine to check out games and enjoy the hockey. And now I can't wait for baseball. I live in the perfect spot. I'm right between the Huntington Center and Fifth Third Field. And Friday, opening day for the Hens is, I mean, the city might as well just shut down. It's one huge block party, regardless of the weather, which looks like it's going to be fine. Maybe a little chilly, but you can bring out the brand new Mud Hens gear, all of the new Hens hoodies that I've seen in the swamp shop.
Oh yeah, without fail, that's my favorite part about shopping for opening day is that the amount of sweatshirts that come in to get you ready. I can't wait to see everyone rocking them out on the street. It'll literally be completely shut down all around the ballpark. So I can't wait to just take a couple laps outside and see everybody.
I just want you to know that Craig Katz, who is in charge of all of our merchandise here, is going to be very happy you brought that up, Scott. So thank you for doing that. I'm sure Craig will be very, very thrilled that you mentioned that. He comes down and reminds me every day that we need to be doing something to promote his gear. So good job. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, there's lots of stuff down there. Go buy it.
I actually have several, as you know, Hens hoodies ready to wear, but I don't have any of the new logo, the Firebird logo. Am I calling it the right thing?
The real bird.
The real bird.
Yeah.
The Firebirds are a whole other team.
Yes. Yeah. Let's stay on brand here.
Yeah, the real bird. I don't have any of that merch yet, so I need to maybe get something for that for Friday.
Absolutely, I think it's one of our cooler logos. I've never seen what a Mud Hen looked like until we brought this logo out, so I'm really excited that it's all over the gear now.
Yeah, so until I moved here, I thought that the Mud Hen was a made-up thing, a made-up creature. But it's a real bird.
It is real. It is a real bird, that is for sure.
So, Taylor,
what is the name of the actual bird?
What was that?
I said, Taylor, what's the name of the actual bird? Do you know what it is? I'm throwing you under the bus right now.
Oh, God. Nope, I can't
Scott,
tell you.
You know what it is?
I can see it, but I cannot think of what the name of it actually is.
American coot.
That's what it is. Yep. American
history lesson here today on the Scott Sands podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling you an American coot.
That's about right, actually. It kind of fits.
Taylor, we'll have you start off, and then I'll ask Jordan about the team. What all's happening Friday?
What isn't happening Friday, to be honest? Got a lot of fun things going on. I think in game, we're going to be debuting a lot of our new graphics that we have, a lot of the fun things on the video board. We're excited to refresh for our fans to see. But it's just going to be some Mud Hens baseball. We're excited to just have everyone in the park and getting excited again for the summer to kind of preview on a little bit of our fun events that we've got coming later down the summer with all those fun activations.
Right. And some new food as well that I had a chance to try a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. The tater tots were my favorite. So
huge,
no question. Those
huge
tater
tots.
Unreal.
They were delicious. I didn't get a chance to try everything yet, but that's what I'm looking forward to the most is making a little pit stop at every station to try them all.
So what time does your day start on Friday? Because I think there will be people on St. Clair drinking by about 9 a.m., maybe even before that.
I wish I had the excuse to start drinking at 9 a.m. with everybody, but I think I'll be in around 9 a.m. truthfully, getting just last minute touches put on the ballpark and out in Hensville Park, and then just to take it all in and enjoy the day.
Yeah, it's always a blast. And first pitch is just after 4:00 this Friday.
4:05 is when we're kicking everything off.
Jordan, how's the team look? Tell us about the new leadership and any new players. What are your expectations for the team this year?
Yeah, no, listen, on paper, it looks like this is going to be a really good team. We've got a new manager, Gabe Alvarez, who is a former Mud Hen player. He played here for parts of 3 seasons over at Ned Skelton Stadium back in the day. He's won back-to-back championships as a manager down in Erie. So he's had a bunch of the guys that will be on this roster. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I mean, there's some injuries in Detroit right now, so I think some of the guys that we had expected to be here will not be here because of so many injuries in Detroit to start the season. But I think the pitching staff's going to be really, really good. A guy like Kiter Montero, who is going to be one of our starters down here, he pitched for the Tigers during the playoffs last year. I mean, he was part of that run up in Detroit. And because they're so deep right now with the big league club, like, he has to come down here to start the season. He'll get up and pitch in Detroit at some point this year. There's no question in my mind. But, like, that just tells you the depth in the organization and how good things are going right now. So I look forward to it. I think we should be a pretty good team. But you just never know in minor league baseball. Things change so much that it's impossible to tell.
Well, and that's one of the things that I know baseball fans, baseball enthusiasts love about being here in Toledo and seeing the Mud Hens play are all of the future and current Tigers that eventually pass through the city. I'm more of a baseball social guy. I don't know the stats. I don't know the player names, but I love going to the games and enjoying the atmosphere. But we've had last season, I think Paul Skynes came through here. I mean, that was a big deal to be able to see him play and all of the current and future Tigers that pass through the Mud Hens organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Like, and I always like to say, like, we have something for everybody down here. You don't have to be a huge baseball fan or a huge hockey fan to come to a Walleye game or a baseball fan to come to a Mud Hens game. I mean, we're doing so many things around the ballpark that you don't have to be a baseball fan to be down here. You can come down and enjoy it, even if you don't want to watch a pitch, honestly. We have some new things we're doing with seating that you can come and just socialize. Like, that's totally fine as well. We get that part of it. But yes, there are some really cool things if you are a baseball fan. You're going to get to see, like, the end of the year, you saw Jackson Jobe pitch here, who's one of the biggest prospects in all of baseball in the Tigers organization. He's going to start with the big club this year. Paul Skeens, as you mentioned, was down here at the beginning of the year. Like, they're just, every year you're going to get some of those guys that you get to see here before they make it big, which is really, really cool. So yeah, but there is something for everybody for sure.
And the MILB is where Major League Baseball also tests some of their rule changes. I think we were one of the first organizations to see the pitch clock implemented.
Yeah, I mean, like, you've got the pitch clock, the ABS system, which you've seen during spring training this year in Major League Baseball, I think has been very successful. We've seen it because we've been doing it for a couple years down here, and it's going to be in Major League Baseball, I would assume, by next season. So yeah, there's little things like that you get to see down here before they make it up to the big leagues, which is kind of neat.
Jordan Strack and Taylor Vandenbroek from the Mud Hens for opening day on Friday. Taylor, what about changes? Jordan mentioned some of the seating changes. What else can we expect from the Mud Hens this season?
Yeah, absolutely. We are ramping up a lot of our Hensville Park activation as well. We're going to have some really cool things happening on Thursdays before the game and after the game, trying to tie in our community with some of those really fun activations. We're going to have a lot of great Hensville live concerts this summer. Our staff has worked really hard to put all of those together, which are going to kind of go with our themes, which is going to be really, really awesome. And not to mention, I'm a little biased with the theme nights and the giveaways and all of that good stuff, which I'm super, super excited about. We got a couple of really good items coming down the pipeline for everybody. You'll see some of your tried and true theme nights as well that we've done, our Boots in Baseball, Margaritaville. Those fun things are coming back. But we're also going to try a couple new things this summer, which super excited for everyone to see and kind of get the reaction of our fans. And there'll be a lot of, I think personally, I'm a little biased because I love the theme nights and everything. It's my favorite thing to be a part of. And I think that's going to be a really fun thing for this summer.
I have a feeling you're a little biased maybe because you have something to do with the promotional nights.
Just a little bit, but I love being able to help plan these theme nights and make our fans excited to come to the ballpark and want to be a part of it all. So
all of the theme nights are great. Are you continuing with the dogs on Tuesday nights? Because that's always my I've got a cat. Tiger, my cat producer, will probably make an appearance at some point as he hears me talking here in the home studio. But on Tuesday nights, I love walking through downtown and up and down Hinsville and St. Clair and through the ballpark, petting everybody else's dog because they all love the attention.
Oh yeah, we will. Dog nights are starting in May, so very excited for all the puppers to be back into the park because, again, like you said, that's my favorite day too. Leaving work, I like to just walk up and down the street and pet all the dogs before I go. So it's one of my favorite nights. So lots of dogs in Hensville Park. So can't wait.
I assume Friday the game itself is probably already sold out or very close to being sold out.
I think so.
There are still some tickets available. And listen, if you're trying to get in, we're going to shoehorn you in. We're going to find a way, even if it's standing room only. So go to mudhens.com, 419-725-HENS. Come up to the box office. If you want to get in, we're going to get you in. So come on down for sure.
Yeah, and all sorts of season ticket packages and single game tickets are also available, of course. You got to come out and support the Hens, support the community, support all of the area businesses downtown, the bars and restaurants. I mean, this is what they thrive on. They rely on everybody coming downtown for the games, for the walleye games to stay in business, really.
Yeah, listen, we've got a really good thing going down here. I as Taylor was saying, we're a little biased down here. We are, and we do. There's a really good thing going on. I mean, you look at the walleye right now. We've sold out 68 straight home games. The Mud Hens on Friday, we're going to have the biggest party in Toledo. There's a lot of really good momentum building in downtown, and it's been so much fun to see. I can remember back to when this ballpark was built, and I was a high school student working as a bat boy down here, and to watch the transformation from that point to this point, it's been awesome. I've had a front row seat the whole time, and it's been neat to see. And yeah, things are as good as they've ever been. So yeah, I hope people will come down for sure and be part of it.
And I think that's what continues to keep the Mud Hens and the popularity and the support going, is that there's always a new innovation, whether it's a new theme night, improvements to the ballpark, new bars and restaurants coming downtown. I mean, there's always something to keep people at Toledo and really from surrounding areas that come in for the Hens games and the walleye games as well, interested and engaged with the organization.
No question. Like, I think that's and Taylor and her group, like, they are always trying to find new, different ways to appeal to different crowds. And, you bring in Bluey because, listen, Scott, I don't think you're a huge Bluey fan, but they're the parents out there that want to bring down their kids, they love Bluey. So
you don't know me.
God, I know you. No, listen, you might be a Bluey fan. It might be something you've been hiding and you didn't tell me about.
Right.
But there is something for everybody. That Taylor and her group, like, that, those are the things that they sit and do all the time is worry about how we get everybody down here and get everybody excited about Mud Hens baseball or Toledo Walleye hockey.
All right. So Taylor, what are the three things, maybe for somebody who's never been to opening day, what are the three things you need to see and do? Obviously come to the game, but what would you recommend? What are your top three recommendations for opening day in the ballpark?
Ooh, top three. I would say, one, you have to get a photo with our large bobbleheads. We've got Muddy Madonna and Jamie Farr as our newest addition as of last season. So you have to make sure you get your photos with all of the bobbleheads. I will give Craig a shout out. You need to go into the swamp shop because there's so many cool items in there. I mean, you not just clothes, there's other cool merch items that you can get too. And then I think you have to, at some point, you just have to go stand on the club level and take it all in. We have a beautiful sign up there for Jim Weber honoring his memory, and it is like the perfect view of the ballpark. You have to go up there. You have to just take it all in, see all the people in the seats, see everybody. You can see all around the ballpark, the city, the video board, everything. I think that's my favorite spot to stand and take the game in because you just get to see it all. So I would say those are probably my top three things.
If you go into the swamp shop, you could literally get a different Hens shirt to wear every day of the year without repeating yourself. It's such a great merch collection. Jordan, let me ask you about Weber. I mean, obviously, and the radio continues. Of course, BCSN continues to carry the games, and one of my old stations, Fox Sports 1230, The Gambler, has the radio games. His voice is going to be missed, but Matt Melzek stepping in. You're going to be part of the broadcast side, I'm sure, as well. But many longtime listeners of the Hens games will certainly miss his voice.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's still, I mean, it's been months now, and I still feel like it's not real. It's weird to be starting a baseball season without him. I always, every single year at the beginning of the year, I'd always go up to him and you get to check in with him after being off for a couple months. And I was on that first broadcast last year after he had passed away, and it was hard, really hard. And yeah, we're gonna miss him like crazy. I'm super excited for Melzak because I know how bad he wanted it, and he's gonna get to do all the games this year, which is awesome. I'm gonna be filling in on hockey this weekend for him. But yeah, it will certainly be different. It's the first time in a long time we're gonna start a baseball season here and not have Webb with us. We miss him like crazy, but yeah, it'll be different. But I'm very excited for Matt to be able to step in, and I know Jim's family was very, very thankful and very excited that Matt was the guy that got the gig, and he deserved it for sure.
Yeah. What are your top 3 recommendations for newbies to opening day to do on Friday?
Yeah. After you made me all sad, let's
right.
talk about.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to pick things back up. I don't want to end on a down note, but obviously,
I mean,
I've been doing radio for 10 years in Toledo myself, and we'll miss Weber, but love Matt and love you guys.
No, you're good. So I actually love Taylor's. Those were good. So I would say one recommendation I have is literally just to stand out on Washington near the home plate entrance and just kind of look around. Like there are literally people everywhere. There's stuff going on everywhere. So just make one lap around the ballpark. Honestly, I think that's something that
such great people watching. Let's be honest. especially the best times to go people watching are probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then again around 6:37 as the game's letting out.
Yeah, everybody's.
And again, as someone who's been at Frickers until midnight doing day-long broadcasts, also great people watching around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, no, everybody's a little inebriated. Everybody's feeling good at that point, and certainly the people watching is really good. I think a couple other things like you have to get a hot dog on opening day. Like to me, that's like there's nothing more American than getting a hot dog on opening day and sitting at the ballpark. Like that feels like that's something you absolutely have to do while you're here. And a third thing, God, what were yours? Swamp Shop,
Mascots.
The bobbleheads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have to you actually have to get a photo with Muddy. Like
yeah.
The bobbleheads are cool. You got to go find Muddy though. Like you have to, it's iconic. Muddy is iconic. You have to at least go see him at some point and get a photo with Muddy. Every drunk person is posting on Facebook is going to have a picture with Muddy at some point. So I look forward.
Muddy will find you. If you don't find Muddy, Muddy will find you.
Right. He's got an incredible ability to do that. Yeah.
It really should be an official city holiday. Mud Hens opening day Friday. Mudhens.com. Get tickets. Come downtown. Be part of the festivities. It's one of the greatest days of the year in the city of Toledo. Continue to support the Walleye as they start their playoff run. Tell me, do you guys have like a Mud Hens opening day PC small group chat on Signal to talk about everything?
Oh, Scott, no, listen, that's all classified information. We would never do that. We are very locked down, and we're all on the same page here. So don't you worry about that.
Perfect. It's great to see you guys. Taylor, Jordan from the Mud Hens. I'll see you around downtown on Friday.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Opening day truly is one of my favorite days of the year, and the party starts well before first pitch at 4. There literally will be people downtown early in the morning. There are so many bars and restaurants that are celebrating tomorrow. I always wind up at Frickers, or have been there for the last 10 years with the radio stations. In fact, my friends Bob and Tom, the Bob and Tom Show on WIOT, are in town Friday morning doing their show from Toledo, which is really cool. And then signing autographs and stuff at Frickers, I believe 11 to 1 after that. I'll have to stop by Frickers, make the people who fired me buy me a beer at some point. Blarney has a great party. Here at the Commodore Perry, where I live, I think the apartment complex is doing a party for residents. The bar downstairs, Whiskey Red Saloon, Jeff's got a hot dog buffet that should be a lot of fun. Dan's place next door at downtown Johnny's, I'm sure will be packed. And my friends at Cock and Bull are having a party as well. Joining me now, she is one of the entertainers at Cock and Bull at Sarah Metler's place on Friday to kick off the opening day festivities there. It's my friend Andi Jo Taylor. Andi Jo, how are you, superstar?
I'm good. How are you, Scott? Thanks for inviting.
Terrific. I'm going to miss you perform on Friday, unfortunately. I'm sure I'll run into you somewhere downtown, but I'm filling in on Super Talk Mississippi until 2 o'clock our time on Friday, so I'm not going to get out downtown until after 2. So I'll miss your show. You're playing, I think, 11 to 1, 11 to 2?
Yeah, 11 to 2 at Cockable, but it's no worries. I'm sure I'll see you out somewhere.
I mean, you can swing by my place and sing for me if you want, but that's kind of weird.
Well, you know what?
You have been everywhere lately. I know you've got several shows this weekend, not just playing at the Cock and Bull. I saw you here in my building. I should clarify it was not in my apartment because, again, that would be weird. But you were downstairs at Whiskey Red Saloon. I went downstairs and I actually line danced for a song, and that's something I haven't done since, I lived in Mississippi.
You know what? You did a great job. I was getting ready to ask you.
Yeah, I have no rhythm. I have no coordination. Line dancing's not my thing, but it was fun. It's always a good time down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And like you said, I've been everywhere. This past week in Cincinnati, I got to open up for Priscilla Block. And then from Cincinnati, I traveled to Coldwater. So a weekend on the road.
Yeah, and last year, I believe, I know you've done this before a couple of times, but I think didn't you do the national anthem for opening day last year for the Mud Hens?
Yeah, last year opening day was crazy. This isn't as hectic as I'm not the anthem, but last year I the Cock and then did the national anthem, and then afterwards got to have the true opening day experience with friends. You know what I mean?
I remember running into you in the swamp shop. I think you spent 3 or 4 hours trying to figure out what outfit you were going to wear. So did I, but so I'm not judging.
It was tough, but I will say, I really did my girl. Her name is Anna. She does versatile bedazzling. So you can follow her on Facebook and bedazzling.
I don't need anything bedazzled, but she did a wonderful job. You looked amazing. What's it like to do the national anthem? Yeah, I could bedazzle my mic. It's got to be a lot of stress to sing the national anthem in front of so many people, because it's not an easy song to do to begin with.
Yeah, I wouldn't say for me that it's more so pressure for perfection. Like I said, it is already a tough song. Thankfully, I've had a lot of experience performing the anthem. Kind of mastered my version of it, but there is that pressure of making it perfect because it's America's song, and I will always try to do due diligence to perform the best of my ability to honor our country.
I believe you did it for the Buckeyes before a game too. That's like 100,000 people.
Yeah, I've done it for team, the dance team, obviously for opening day, and for our Toledo, and I did it for Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, good stuff, and you do an amazing job, and always appreciated you volunteering your time for our Toy-a-thon at my old radio station. That was always nice of you to do, and everybody loved to see you perform there. Your show at Cock and Bull, it's going to get a little rowdy. I mean, people are going to start drinking before they get there at 11 o'clock. You do realize this?
Absolutely. Well, the doors at Cock and Bull open at 10. We're prepared to walk in and just like I said, the true opening day experience. There's nothing like friends here in baseball. Can't complain no matter how.
No, I've driven by there in years past getting ready for our live broadcasts, and people are standing at the door waiting to get in at 10. They will pregame the pregame parties.
Literally. But I mean, one of the things about opening so much is that it really does Toledo, and it's like it.
So, in addition to the singing and all of your concerts, you're performing. You also do the acting bug. You got any new projects that you're working on that you can share with us?
So I don't have any new acting projects. I will say next month I am actually Detroit. One of the short films we did is a bilingual short film called I'm actually nominated for Best Actor.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. No new projects at the moment. the road on tour this year. So
yeah, you're playing a lot of shows. Where else are you coming up other than at Cock and Bull Friday at 11 before opening day? What other shows do you have in our area that you have booked so far?
yeah, so for the next 2 weeks after opening day, I'm traveling. I will be back. In Toledo at Bar 145, April 13th. I'll be back here. And then I'm also doing Rossford at on Wednesday, April 9th.
Fantastic. Share your social so everybody can follow you and find you.
Yeah, of course you can find me on social media at Taylor, or you can go to my website. If you want to come see me, I post on there as well.
Hate, I'm going to miss you Friday. I'm sure I'll see you somewhere downtown after the game, and I'll run into you and then see you perform again soon. Andi Jo Taylor, it's great to see you.
Great to see you, Scott. Yeah, I'll make it a point to find you at some point.
Apologies for the echo there with Andi Jo. I tried to clean it up after we did. Apologies for the echo there with Andi Jo. I tried to clean that up in post-production, but wasn't able to get that right. Still learning some of these new technical. Apologies for the echo there with Andi Jo. I didn't hear it when we were talking in real time, and I tried to clean it up in post-production, learning some new software here for the podcast. We're going to wrap it up on a serious note. This is the story that everybody is talking about this week. And this morning, The Atlantic published the receipts, the actual text message exchange in the Houthi PC small group chat on Signal, which dispels some of what the administration has said, that it didn't contain any classified information. We can parse words about what is and what is not classified information, what is and what is not an attack plan. But they were obviously talking about things that you wouldn't want made public before an attack, hours before an attack on a terrorist, an attack on an enemy. And there's a lot of blame to go around here. The thing that stands out to me is this whole Signal thing. Signal is supposed to be a fortress of privacy, a tool that you would expect to see paired with burner accounts, burner phones, or at least some discretion. You want that separation of identity. You want to keep your real identity, your real messages at arm's length. In context, which is everything here, the intelligence community often operates in shades of gray that outsiders like us may not be able to always fully grasp. I use Signal. I've got a Signal app on my phone. I've even got Vice President J.D. Vance as a Signal contact, although he has never included me in a group chat. In fact, I don't think I've ever used Signal. I think the only messages I get there are spam, but I do have it if you want to find me there, or Telegram, WhatsApp, all of those apps I've got. I just don't use them all. And I'm not here to try to second guess the choice to use Signal. That's going to be a call for the pros who live and breathe this top secret stuff. What's undeniable here is that the intelligence community's track record with this app. The DoD, Department of Defense, uses it. The deepest corners of the intelligence community use it. Covert hubs like the CIA's FARM teaches their agents how to use this for operational teams scattered across the globe. It's in their toolkit, helping secure communications that keep their missions on track. I know they've used other apps before, like Wicker, before Amazon snapped that up, but they've pivoted back, which proves that the intelligence community is adept at adjusting to what works, and that's not a flaw, that's a strength. This story, which is holding up, it doesn't seem to be a fake news story, just how you interpret it. It can shine a light on the brilliance of covert communications, COVCOM, if you will, if you want to get into the lingo. The intelligence community doesn't just grab apps off the shelf and call it a day. They take commercial platforms and burners and work their magic, tailoring them to fit the mission. It's resourceful and even kind of scrappy and gets results. Here's the real kicker, though, and something I think we need to keep in mind, that they've built cutting-edge radio and mobile technology that's light years ahead of Signal and all the other apps. They've got tools that plug these tradecraft gaps and keep their operatives safe. And I'm not talking about gadgets like you might see in a James Bond movie or Mission Impossible. They're mission multipliers. And if they're not fully deployed yet, it's not for lack of talent or vision. It's because budgets are tight. And the intelligence community is a sprawling beast. Trying to coordinate across agencies has got to be like herding cats. There's a healthy drive to innovate, and experts are pushing boundaries to keep America ahead of the curve. It's not silos, it's dedication, but there are silos that do exist here. My 2 cents, just to wrap up our day here, is that we know the intelligence community has the goods, world-class platforms that they can lock down in the toughest missions. They're winning with what they've got. Leaning harder into those advanced tools could take success to the next level. These people are the backbone of national security. I think we need to give them the green light to roll out the best that they've built, and they will deliver every time. Tiger the cat, my producer, seems to agree with me, which is a clue that maybe I've been talking just a little too long here, and Tyler wants me to, or Tiger wants me to, distracted by the cat. Wants a treat here. I'll let him down in a second. I think the biggest mistake that President Trump and Caroline Leavitt and Pete Hegseth and Mike Waltz may have made here is not admitting they made a mistake, that they screwed up, that Jeffrey Goldberg shouldn't have been in on the chat to begin with. And maybe they don't know how he got there. He shouldn't have been. Admit that he was added, that the conversation took place. I think the conversation itself shows a healthy dialogue between our leaders, the people who were in charge of making these life and death decisions. They were very deliberative, as you could see with Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance's comments. Very thoughtful on how to proceed and what the ramifications may be. And that gives me good confidence in their leadership role. I don't think that Mike Waltz or Pete Hegseth should be forced to resign over this screw up. They certainly need to figure out how to move forward for more secure communications in situations like this. But if they had admitted the mistake and said, yeah, we talked about the attack on a platform that maybe we should not have, and we don't know how Jeffrey Goldberg got on the chat thread, we'll make sure that it doesn't happen again, and we're going to use more secure communications when discussing attack plans moving forward. I don't think it would have been a big deal. The cover-up is always worse than the crime, although this, I don't believe, rises to the level of a crime, but it certainly was an attempt to downplay by this administration that if they had just been upfront and admitted the mistake, story probably would have gone away. I mean, we see Representative Marcy Kaptur calling for Pete Hegseth's resignation or termination. I don't remember her calling for Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin to step down after he literally disappeared for 5 days without telling the White House. Should these attack plans have been shared on that platform with a reporter by accident? No. This was a mistake. We need to figure out how it happened, why it happened, and how to avoid it happening in the future and move on. Because at the end of the day, the mission was successful. No lives were lost, and Houthi terrorists were killed. This is an organization that was taken off the terror list by President Joe Biden, and that made the world and Americans less safe. President Trump is doing his job to eliminate that threat. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to talk about this a little bit more Friday with Congressman Trent Kelly, who is a member of the Intelligence Committee representing the state of Mississippi, Mississippi's first. While I'm on Super Talk Mississippi Friday from 11 to 2 Eastern Time, I've asked him to come on the show to talk about this and other threats against our country. So join me on supertalk.fm Friday for that live stream. I'll share the links for that. Also, there's a link here in the comments. If you use nicotine pouches, let me recommend, if I can get it on camera right, Alp. This is the pouch designed by Tucker Carlson. It's got better flavor. Flavor lasts longer. It's a moisture pouch than some of the other ones you can use. This product does contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. You must be 21, but you can save 10% if you want to try Alp. God, I suck at TV. It's in the comments below and on all of my profiles to save 10% on the Alp pouch. Thanks to my other partners as well. RixaHealth.com, 4guysandaroof.com, Farnsworth Cocktail Bar, 3rd Street Cigar, Frame Chiropractic, The Art of Men's Grooming. Go see Christy or any of the team at The Art of Men's Grooming if you need a haircut, beard trim. Whiskey Red Saloon downstairs here at the Commodore Perry building. They've got a big opening day party, as does Cock and Bull and Blarney, everybody else. Toledo Tech Loft, Ozzy's General Market, and the Americans for Prosperity of Ohio. I'll share more information about this next week, but I've been asked to speak at the Tax Day rally on April 15th with State Rep Josh Williams. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for asking me there. And if you're watching, please be sure to hit subscribe and share with your friends. This is now available on all the platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook, probably some others as well. Subscribe and share. This has been a weird episode. I apologize. Doing a 3-hour live show, which took hours to plan at times, although you may not have been able to tell on the radio. Actually, easier. I think it's taken me 3 hours to do a 40-minute podcast, which is just weird. And I still don't have the camera right. The lighting's wrong. I look horrible on TV. I need my teeth fixed. I've got these blemishes on my face. It's a mess. Why am I even doing video? I could do audio and be just fine with it. And I'll leave you on that note. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great afternoon.